Hi guys, this is the On the Side Repair Guy, and today we're going to look at recovering some space on your hard drive in Windows environments by acquainting you, or perhaps reacquainting you, with the disk cleanup tool that's included in Windows. So, of course, like most of the applications that are built into Windows, you can get to them by accessing them through the Start button. I'm running Windows 10. Any of you running Windows 8.1, there'll be a different way for you to get to it, but most of the other versions of Windows, since 3.1, it's always in the same place, roughly. So in Windows 10, all apps, get down to the Windows or W section. In the older versions, you would be able to go directly to the Windows accessories and find it under there. In Windows 10, we've got a new folder, the Windows Administrative Tools, and that is where you will find Disk Cleanup in this version. Now, I'm just going to close that for a second, because there's always more than one way to open a program or do pretty much anything on a computer. And if you're having trouble finding the application through the Start button, the other way that you can get to it is by running a search. Now in Windows 10, of course, you have the Ask Me Anything box. In Windows 8, you would slide your mouse up to the corner and then you'll find the search box popping out from the side. Windows 7, the search bar is once again down at the bottom when you open the Start bar. But in all of them, if you simply open your search bar and search for Disk Cleanup, you can see it popping up real quick there. It will automatically pull that up, and you can also open it that way. That will save you some time if you don't want to go digging through your Start bar. Find it, click it, and open it, and then we move on to the next step of actually using the Disk Cleanup. So of course, with this first window you're being asked to select the drive that you want to clean. You almost always want to point it at the one that has Windows loaded to it. Pointing it at the other ones, you might clean some stuff out of it, old recycle files, etc. But this tool is really designed around getting rid of files that are generated in the system that you're using, which of course is your Windows environment. So always point it at your Windows directory unless you have a specific reason for going after the other ones. It's going to take a look, find out what it can remove, and then it'll bring you to the main window of the Disk Cleanup program. So each of these are pretty much self-explanatory. If you click on them, you actually get a description of what they are. So I'm not going to talk too much about each of them. I'm just going to highlight the ones that are important to think about before you delete them, and why. So the first important one is your temporary internet files. So you can tell this is where a lot of your memory goes for stuff that we can clean up using this tool. And that's because the temporary internet files are cached web pages, cookies, thumbnails, and all the things that it downloads, so that next time you visit that web page, it's going to take less time to load the page because it already has files. You don't have to download them to your computer again. The catch about the temporary internet files is if you delete them, some of the things that you take for granted when you log into a web page, you go to Facebook and it automatically logs you in without you having to type in your password. That is actually stored in this directory, the temporary internet files. So you may want to actually go into the view files for the temporary internet files and pick and choose which ones you want to delete. On the other hand, getting rid of all your temporary internet files will allow you to clean up your tracks from your web browsing. So that's the two things that you really have to weigh when dealing with your temporary internet files. You sacrifice convenience for privacy and anonymity on your own computer. The other two that come to mind to talk about are the system error memory dump files. These are the files and logs that are created when your computer crashes. It's a large amount of memory, I know, just taking a look at mine, but at the same time, these logs can be instrumental in fixing your computer if it crashes and you get the blue screen of death. For those of you who remember that from earlier versions, there's still kind of a version in Windows 8 and 10. These can be left alone if you're really not hurting for hard drive space, and this amount that you can gain back when you're talking about, a 3-4 terabyte hard drive isn't really that much to sacrifice in order to gain the peace of mind that a technician can look at your computer and find out what caused the crash. The next one, System Archive Windows Error Reports, same thing. We can use these to look at what happened to your computer, so if you don't have to remove them, don't. It is very advantageous to leave those ones alone. Anything else that's on the list you can pretty much remove, so I'm going to save my temporary net files, but I'm going to actually remove everything else myself, just for the example here. So go through, check off what you want to get rid of, and then come down to the bottom and click OK. It's going to ask you to confirm if you want to get rid of these files, because you are removing them permanently. So confirm that, and it will run through and delete all those files for you. This can actually take several minutes depending on how much you have to get rid of. So at this point you can get up, probably, fill your coffee cup if you have a lot of files to get rid of. If not, 30 seconds, there it goes. Now, there's something new that was introduced in Windows 10 that really makes going back into the disk cleanup actually quite useful. So, load it back up, let it scan your hard drive, and you're going to see something that you would not have seen in previous versions. You take a look at mine here, there's the files, they're still there, they haven't gone anywhere. The reason for this is that Windows 10 now has a safeguard. Windows will not actually delete any files that you have used in the last 7 days. So if you take a look at it, go back in, you actually find out how much you're using the independent things that you would want to delete because they're still there. Now there is a way to tell it to delete everything, but that involves editing registry keys. If you don't know what a registry key is, odds are you probably shouldn't be playing with it. If you do know what a registry key is, there are guides online. Go take a look at them, see if it's something that you want to play with. If not, you're pretty much done with the basic disk cleanup. Now there are a couple of other things that you can do. We avoided this button in the first round, but you can turn that on and tell it to rescan your hard drives. So you remember the list that you had before. You're going to actually get a completely new list with a couple of extra things by activating that. It's going to take a little bit longer to scan through because it has a few extra folders to go through. Just wait for that to come through. There we go. So now you have the addition of the Windows Defender folder and the mini dump folder, which is just a child folder to the memory dump directory. Old device driver packages for your video, your audio, and anything else that requires a driver. When it actually installs a new driver, it takes the old package and packs it away for you so that if you need to roll back to the old driver, it's still available. So if you see any amount stored in there, like say the Windows Defender, I've got 35.5 megabytes there, you can go ahead and recover those as well. If it's not enough space for you to really be concerned about, go ahead, close it, you're done with the basic Windows cleanup. So beyond basic cleanup, the stuff that pretty much pops up right in front of your face, there is one more thing that you can do in the area of advanced cleanup using the disk cleanup tool. So if you load it up one more time, let's scan your hard drive. So when you hit the cleanup system files, you may have noticed that there was a More Options tab available at the top. Now, there's going to be two available things in there that you can take a look at. One of them is pretty straightforward. Let this finish loading once again. Alright. So, Programs and Features, This is just basically the ability to remove tools and applications from Windows, either things that you've installed or things that Windows comes with, like the disk cleanup, ironically enough. You can actually tell it to remove those entirely to gain space. Those aren't really highly advantageous. It's more worth paying attention to the things that you've installed, whether you're using them or not. If you find yourself no longer using something, it's time to get rid of it. This one, on the other hand, the System Restore and Shadow copies, is definitely worth taking a look at. Now, System Restore automatically saves an image of your Windows environment whenever you do something like install a driver or install a Windows program. It backs up your current state so that if something goes wrong with that installation, you can roll back to it. You've heard the term Windows Restore as opposed to a factory restore. That's what the restore points are. It allows you to do a Windows restore and roll back to a previous version of your image. Those take up a lot of space, and you usually have 5 to 10 of them stored on your hard drive at any given time. Also, at the same time, it thinks that some files in your system are actually from an old version of Windows. If you've recently upgraded to Windows 10, this will actually include your old Windows version. For the first 30 days of your Windows 10 installation, you can actually roll back to your previous version, and this is where it's actually hiding in the System Restore and Shadow Copies directory. So if you want to really free up some good space, you can come in here and click Cleanup. It's going to ask you if you really want to do this, because if you're still within your first 30 days, you're literally removing your old version of Windows from your system in case you want to roll back. I don't know about you, I'm quite happy with Windows 10 and what they've done with it, so I'm going to actually click that. Gone. Completely gone. In the background, it's going to remove all of those files. After you hit OK here, everything gone. Unlike the basic disk cleanup, there is no limitation on that 7-day thing. It will clean out everything that you just told it to clean out. This really could take a lot of time, so I'm actually going to just fast track here. And there we go. Anything that hasn't been used in the last 7 days is now cleaned out of your system, and the amount of space that you gain back can be either reused for temporary files as you browse the internet, or be used to actually install other programs. This is one of the few tools that's built into Windows that is not scheduled to run on its own. If you think about disk defrag, upgrading your virus definitions, and Windows updates, all those things are automatically scheduled. But to clean out your temporary files and all the other ones there, you have to do that manually. So you generally want to do this once a week, once a month, however sensitive to the size of your hard drive space you are. But it is something that you have to do yourself. So unless you have a third-party program doing it for you, build it into your regular maintenance schedule, and you'll find that if you just keep it up, you'll keep that little bit of extra hard drive space available more often. So that's disk cleanup in a nutshell, part of your regular computer maintenance routine, or at least it should be. For any other questions or the rest of my videos, you can go to On the Side Computer Repair on Facebook. Give me a like so that you can find me later on for any future videos. And until then, happy computing. This is your On the Side Repair guy, signing off.